We do begin with the new details involving the rescue of those miners that were trapped in a cave in Laos and the dramatic scene 10 days after they were effectively buried alive, and the intensifying search now for the 2 miners that are still missing. ABC News foreign correspondent Britt Clennett is in Hong Kong with more. Good morning, Britt.
Good morning, Rachel. Yeah, well, we had joy and relief, remember, after the 5 of those men made it out of the cave alive. But now the focus is shifting to the 2 others who are still missing. And that, we're told, is an even trickier operation, as they're likely in an area deeper into this incredibly tight, unmapped network of tunnels.
This morning, just one day after the remarkable rescue of those 5 miners trapped in a flooded cave for over a week, the race intensifying to find 2 others who are still missing. Search teams planning to explore deeper inside the cave beyond where the 5 were found. Rescuers will battle a pitch-black, heavily flooded maze of tunnels, the most hazardous part of this operation.
There is the constant fear in the back of your head that if it rains, this thing that you are, slowly working your way through could very easily be flooded with water.
The rescued miners are now in the hospital and we're told they're doing fine. The first miner was rescued on Friday before the tunnels were extensively drained. He's seen crawling on his hands and knees through tiny passages. But then the rescuers were able to pump out even more water, eventually enabling 4 of the remaining miners to crawl out themselves. Exhausted, but grateful to be alive and reunited with their loved ones.
Now, adding to the complications of locating the 2 remaining men is the fact that this is monsoon season, and we're told another tropical downpour there has already flooded up the cave again. Now, the divers, though, they are not giving up, even looking for new cave entrances to cover all possibilities of finding them. Gio?
Not giving up, but truly incredible to see those reunions right there. Britt Clennett, thank you so much. Now to the what was that moment across New England? A massive boom shaking buildings. NASA this morning confirming it was a meteor breaking up 40 miles above the Earth. This was the sound heard by thousands across New England Saturday afternoon. NASA confirming to ABC News that sonic boom, shaking homes from Massachusetts to New Hampshire, was a fireball traveling at roughly 75,000 miles per hour that fragmented midair, 40 miles high.
You hear a large explosion in West Peabody? We're getting called. I heard it and felt it, but no idea where it came from.
It literally felt like someone was slamming all our doors in the house at once.
Manny Karash says seconds after he heard the boom, his entire house began to rumble.
You can see in the footage that I provided, you can see like the physical shaking of the cameras. Whatever that shockwave was enough to literally move things.
NASA says the fireball was a natural object and not a re-entry of space debris or a satellite, adding the energy released at breakup is estimated to be equivalent to about 300 tons of TNT. Okay, so what they mean by natural object is a meteor, and as it enters the Earth's atmosphere, that meteor breaks up. That's what causes that fragmented fireball. It's just that this one was actually really big because it turns out we have thousands of meteors that actually enter the atmosphere every single day. They're just too small.
And it's nice to get an explanation.
Exactly.
For the folks out there, like, wait a second, what was that?
Can that come with a little bit of a warning label?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you for that extra info, though. We appreciate it. All right, we do want to turn now to the new details overnight in that deadly bus crash in Virginia that killed 5 people. The bus driver now facing charges. ABC's Andrew Dimber joins us with the latest. Andrew, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Whit. What started as a horrific crash scene on one of the East Coast's busiest highways has now turned into a criminal investigation. That bus driver now charged in connection with the death of 5 people as investigators piece together what went wrong.
This morning, the bus driver at the center of this deadly I-95 chain reaction crash now facing criminal charges. Virginia State Police say 48-year-old Jing Dong has been charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, and investigators say additional charges are pending. The fatal crash happening early Friday morning in Stafford County, Virginia.
Multiple people jumping out of windows,
multiple vehicles on fire.
Authorities say the bus traveling from New York City to Charlotte, North Carolina, failed to slow down for traffic backed up near a work zone, slamming into multiple vehicles.
It seems fairly clear that if there was any braking, there wasn't much because of the speed and the severity of the collision, but too early yet to know exactly what was happening on board the vehicle.
5 people were killed. State police now identifying one of the victims, 25-year-old Priscilla Mafalda of Massachusetts. 4 other victims, including 2 children, were inside an SUV that caught fire after impact. More than 40 others were taken to hospitals. Video showing survivors climbing out of the smoke-filled, overturned bus. Federal investigators now on scene. The National Transportation Safety Board says it's investigating the bus driver's actions in the moments before the crash. The driver remains hospitalized but in custody, facing a maximum of 10 years in prison for each charge of involuntary manslaughter if convicted.
Authorities say their investigation is now focusing on examining the driver and those critical moments before the crash, the bus company, vehicle data, and the surrounding work zone backup. Gio.
All right, Andrew Dimber, thank you so much. Now to the fight against that fast-moving Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The head of the World Health Organization visiting the epicenter of that battle. And ABC's Rena Roy is here now following all of this. Rena, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, it seems the numbers just keep rising. And some doctors are now warning this outbreak is growing faster than any Ebola emergency in the past. The top official of the WHO traveled to the Democratic Republic of Congo this weekend, which is the epicenter. He says he and his team are there to listen to what's needed and support the community as they fight this deadly disease. The WHO suspects it's already claimed at least 240 lives, with over 1,000 people possibly infected. Cases doubling in only a matter of days. And keep in mind, guys, this is all happening less than 2 weeks before the FIFA World Cup. The U.S. and several other countries have implemented travel restrictions. But look, officials say there is no need to panic. They are stressing that the global risk is still very low, guys.
Yeah, but definitely those images very concerning.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
A number of deaths. Okay, Rena, thank you. To Washington now, as President Trump weighs making a deal with Iran. It comes as we learn more information about American troops who have been injured during this conflict. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has more. Good morning, Selena.
And good morning to you, Rachel. The toll of this war with Iran on American service members is growing. A source tells us that several troops and civilian contractors were injured when an Iranian missile strike was intercepted over a U.S. base in Kuwait on Wednesday. Those Americans suffered minor injuries from the falling debris. An overnight CENTCOM says it disabled another ship trying to breach the U.S. blockade on its way to Iran. Officials saying U.S. forces issued multiple warnings before an aircraft fired a Hellfire missile into its engine room. But here's where things stand this morning on negotiations. There is still no deal with Iran, despite President Trump saying for weeks now that a deal is close. Trump is demanding Iran reopen the Strait of Hormuz, guarantee it won't develop a nuclear weapon, and hand over its highly enriched uranium. But Iran says its nuclear program, which is the issue at the very heart of this whole conflict, isn't even a part of these ongoing talks. And yet the president remains optimistic. In a taped interview that aired last night, Trump said the U.S. is, in his words, close to a very good deal with Iran. He says Iran has agreed not to build a nuclear weapon, but he wants them to agree not to buy one either. But even with Americans still feeling the economic pain of this war, President Trump made one thing very clear. He's in no rush to make a deal with.
Okay, Selena Wang, thanks so much. Let's bring in ABC's Chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl, who'll be hosting This Week later this morning. John, good morning to you. So we've been hearing rumblings of a possible peace deal with Iran for weeks now. What are your sources telling you about what's holding up the talks and whether there's been any progress at all?
Well, first of all, at the risk of sounding like it's Groundhog Day, I am told that they have never been closer to an agreement than they are now. The expectation is this could happen within the next 24 hours or so. But I say that with a degree of skepticism because we have been told variations of that several times over the past several weeks. My understanding is that this is essentially in President Trump's court, that there is an agreement to negotiate an agreement. So keep in mind, this is a very limited agreement if it happens. It would open up the Strait of Hormuz. It would established for talks on those trickier issues regarding Iran's nuclear program, but it would not resolve any of them. That said, the optimism is clearly being expressed, not just by people in the administration, but by sources I have talked to in the region.
All right, well, we will stand by for news on that. Meantime, President Trump is coming off a week of some legal setbacks over his name on the Kennedy Center and that compensation fund of taxpayer dollars for those who claim they were targeted by the Biden administration. What's expected to happen next in those battles?
First of all, this was an incredible day of setbacks for the president. It all happened on Friday over the course of several hours. The Kennedy Center getting, a very blunt decision saying that the president and his handpicked board had no right to put his name on the Kennedy Center, that they had no right to close the center down as they've announced to do renovations. And that they have 14 days to take the name down. And then the weaponization fund challenged. Look, the interesting thing here, Whit, is that Donald Trump is making it clear he does not intend to appeal that Kennedy Center ruling, that he is instead saying, let Congress take care of it. I am, walking away from it all.
Okay, Congress back in session this week, so we'll see how it all plays out. Thanks so much, John, and tune in to This Week. Later this morning, John speaks with White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett and Democratic Senator Cory Booker on the state of negotiations with Iran. Gio.
Okay, wait, now to that viral video showing a North Carolina police officer repeatedly punching a woman during an arrest. The officer now losing his job, and ABC's Morgan Norwood is here now with more on this. Morgan, good morning.
Good morning to you, Gio. Yes, the officer seen in that now viral video has been fired, but for the family of Cherie Moore, that is not enough. This morning, they are calling for criminal charges as state investigators review the disturbing images you're about to see. This morning, a North Carolina police officer fired after this viral doorbell camera video posted to social media shows him repeatedly punching a woman in the head during an arrest.
While this incident does not reflect the values of the Shelby Police Department, it does reinforce the importance of holding ourselves to the highest standards of conduct.
The incident unfolding Friday in Shelby, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. The video showing 34-year-old Cherie Moore and an officer in a struggle.
I don't have a warrant or it's in the house. What are you doing?
From the start, the two locked arms, and seconds later, the video shows the officer wrestling her to the ground and then punching her multiple times while attempting to place her in handcuffs. Then a second officer runs into frame.
Let go! Let go!
But the first officer continues to punch her as she screeches in pain.
I got her!
Cherie Moore eventually handcuffed, and at one point telling officers she's having a mental health crisis, saying she's not on her medication.
I seriously don't have a warrant.
Moore charged with breaking and entering, resisting arrest, and assault on a government official. Those charges later dropped. Her family sharing these images of her bloodied and bruised face.
She was calling my name, and I wasn't there for to protect her. So you know how that made me feel. That made me feel so bad.
No justice, no peace.
The video sparking outrage across the community, protesters marching and demanding accountability, and now the Moore family demanding justice.
We just want the right thing done, and I think the first right thing is that he be charged. Once he's charged, then we can move forward. We really need prayer. We're really hurting here.
And the officer's name has not been publicly released. Shelby Police Chief saying that this case has been turned over to the North Carolina State Department Bureau of Investigation for an independent review of any potential criminal violations. Rachel.
Okay, Morgan, thank you. The latest weapon in the fight against cancer may be a new blood test, bringing new hope that it can be diagnosed and treated earlier. ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton is here with the details. Good morning, Dr. Darian. Good to see you. So walk us through this. What exactly is this and how is this different?
Well, I'll start with these are preliminary results. They're not yet peer reviewed, but there's been enormous anticipation on the possibility of a blood test that can diagnose multiple cancers at once. It's called the Gallery test, and it's made by a company called GRAIL. It's a health and biotech firm. And in this study, they followed over 140,000 adults over the age of 50, all of whom had no symptoms of cancer, and they screened them every year. All received routine screening. Half of this group received this blood test as well every year, and at the end of the study, they looked to see how many cases of cancer were diagnosed, what stages, and whether or not the number of people diagnosed with late-stage cancer changed when you compare these two groups. And here are the results. The results are called mixed, and I'll tell you why in a second, but overall, there was no significant difference in stage 3 or 4 cancer. That's late-stage cancer. That's when cancer has has spread. But really interesting, there was an increase in the rate in early cancers by about 16%. And when this test was added to routine screening, that increase jumped to 4-fold. Now, the reason why scientists call this mixed is because a test can diagnose an early cancer, but a great screening test that can be used at a population level not only diagnoses early cancer, but also cuts down on the number of people getting diagnosed with late-stage cancer.
Interesting. So explain how it can detect multiple cancers and not just one. And then what types of cancers are we actually talking about here?
Really interesting technology here. They're looking for genetic DNA or DNA evidence of the cancer. Now, a positive test doesn't mean that you have cancer. A negative test doesn't mean that you're cancer-free. But this might be beneficial, especially for those difficult to find cancers. For example, cancers that we don't have formal screenings for, like ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer, even certain head and neck cancers. So there's a lot of potential here, but likely more longer studies are needed to help to understand that benefit.
FDA approval?
Not yet. Right now, it's commercially available, a pretty hefty price tag, about $1,000 for this test.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so right now, this company is submitting this information to the FDA. If it is approved, we might see an approval as early as 2027, but there's still more evidence that's needed to see if this can be covered by insurance.
Wow, okay. But could be a very interesting step.
It could certainly be.
Dr. Darian, thank you. Of
course.
All right, now to the NBA playoffs now, and we finally know who will tip off when the finals start on Wednesday. It's official. It will be Spurs, Knicks, that rematch, and ABC's Ike Ajachi is here with how the Spurs punched their ticket. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. When history was made in Oklahoma City last night, the San Antonio Spurs, this young, fearless group led by 22-year-old Victor Wembanyama, walked into the house of the defending NBA champions and walked out headed to the NBA Finals.
Look at the emotion from Wemby.
This morning, the sound of victory.
This is what you want to see.
The reigning champion Oklahoma City Thunder are dethroned, and Victor Wembanyama
The San Antonio Spurs have done it.
are headed to the finals. San Antonio came out of the gate on fire. Wembanyama throwing down early,
Wembanyama throws it on his head.
and the Spurs building a lead as big as 14.
And the Spurs lead by 14, 7 minutes in.
OKC kept fighting.
Clean look,
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going on a personal run in the second quarter, cutting the lead to just one.
What allowed OKC to close the gap?
Shai was being Shai.
The Spurs not letting up after the half. Wemby with the dunk.
Wemby on the attack.
Then the block within seconds of each other.
Wemby here, the last two plays.
Julian Champagnie unstoppable, finishing with 20 points, 18 of them coming from beyond the arc. SGA doing everything to keep his team alive, ending off with a stunning 35 points, his highest of the series.
He has done everything he can here.
But it wasn't enough to keep the Thunder rolling.
The Spurs are going to the NBA Final.
The final, San Antonio Spurs 111, Oklahoma City Thunder 103. Victor Wembanyama, 22 points, 7 rebounds, named the Irvin Magic Johnson Trophy winner as the Western Conference Finals MVP.
This feeling is, I can't explain it. It's so powerful. We want 4 more, we're not done. Go Spurs, go!
All right, it's a 1999 rematch. Spurs and Knicks, San Antonio back for the first time since 2014. The Knicks, they are well rested, but this young Spurs squad, they're proving age is just a number. Game 1 of the NBA Finals will be Wednesday, June 3rd at 8:30 p.m. right here on ABC, guys.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
Cannot wait. Well rested for you up until Wednesday night.
Up until Wednesday night.